The latest addition to our CM plugins collection is Papen's RP-Distort CM. It's a tremendous semi-modular multi-effect plugin for PC and Mac. Its distortion module houses 5 crunchy algorithms, and there's also a linked 4-band EQ and noise gate to accompany the distortion. But that's only scratching the surface. It's also got dual low and high pass resonant filters, it has a great compressor section, and a mono to stereo widener too, which is great for adding width to mono sound sources. It's got a reorderable signal flow with up to 24 routing options. And it's also got a mod matrix with 4 mod slots. And also 4 assignable LFOs too. And also a global bypass and dry wet control too. And because of its flexible semi-modular design, you can apply any of these effects as you wish. It's really great for mixing, for creative sound design purposes. So let's get started. Once RP-Distort CM is installed, fire up a blank 95 BPM project and load up the audio files from the tutorial files folder onto individual tracks. We're using Ableton Live 9 as our DAW, but don't be put off if you're not a Live user. We won't be using any Live 9 specific techniques, so you can use any host software you like. Start by placing a limiter over the project's master channel to prevent clipping our output later. RP-Distort CM houses several crunchy distortion algorithms, so let's use the plugin to add some bite to our lead guitar part. Solo the track containing leadguitar.wav. Drop a fresh instance of RP-Distort CM onto its channel, and click the Papen logo to open the plugin's main interface. To start from a clean slate, we click the top left preset menu and select Default Preset from the drop-down menu. Let's head over to the Distort section, found on RP-Distort CM's centre left. Click on the word None to open a drop-down menu where we can choose from 5 available distortion algorithms: Amp Simulator, Fuzz, Overdrive, Rectify, and 2-band overdrive. We'll select Fuzz, which applies a fuzzbox style overdriven transistor distortion to our guitar. Turn the Distort section's volume down to -8 dB. And note that you can click the blue module header name where it says Distort to toggle the module on and off. Now slowly pull back the frequency knob back to around 30% and hear how the frequency range of the fuzz distortions effect is focused down upon the upper mid-bite of the squealing lead guitar. The pre-knob controls the pre-distortion input level of our signal. Higher levels will drive the distortion harder, so we push this up to 7 dB. Now unsolo the lead guitar's track, solo bass guitar.wav, and add a fresh instance of RP-Distort CM on its channel. Once again, we'll click on the Rob Papen logo to open the plugin, and then we'll select the default preset from the top left presets menu again. In the Distort section, select the amp simulator type, which can emulate several crunchy guitar amps and speaker types. Switch through the various amp and cab types with the type knob. We'll settle upon the 4x10 option. Push the dist parameter up to 30% and hear how this applies distortion to our bass part. The Normalise knob, as its name implies, normalises the level of our distortion output volume in relation to the input volume. So set this to 100%, equaling the perceived loudness of our distorted and bypass signals. The Distort section's EQ, placed before the distortion in the signal path, houses 4 bands that are fixed at 125 Hz, 500 Hz, 2 kHz and 8 kHz. Click its title to turn the module on, then pull the mid 1 and mid 2 bands down to a minimum -20 dB. And then raise the low band to around 6 dB. We can use the global bypass button on the plugin's top right to turn off our processing and hear how we've added weight and crunch to our bass. RP-Distort CM can be used in parallel via its dry-wet knob. Load a new instance of the plugin over rockdrums.wav. After selecting the 024 Drum Loop Fuzz Move preset, turn the Distort section's frequency knob down to 20% to focus the fuzz on the mid-range area. Then we'll set the dry-wet parameter to 100 dry to 40 wet. To blend our original unprocessed signal with our fuzzy processed signal for more punch. Now we're going to put RP-Distort CM's other audio processing modules to use over the individual elements of a house track. Import the audio stems from the tutorial files folder onto new tracks in a fresh project set to 125 BPM. Then load a new instance of RP-Distort CM over deepchord.wav's track. Once again, we'll select the default preset option from the preset menu to initialize the plugin. So let's explore RP-Distort CM's dual low and high pass resonant filters. Turn off the Distort module and activate the filter module by clicking on their headers. The filter can be switched between 12 dB and 24 dB per octave slopes, but we'll leave it set to 12 dB here. Now pull the low knob down to around 160 Hz decreasing the low pass filter's frequency. And to increase the filter's resonance, we'll push up the low Q knob to around 55%. The plugin features 4 independent LFOs, found at the bottom right. LFO 1 is already selected, so change its destination from none to filter low. Now push up the amount knob to around 50% and hear how LFO 1's movement alters our low pass filter's frequency. We move its speed knob around to hear how LFO 1's rate is increased and decreased. Until settling upon a value of approximately 6.4 Hz. To lock the LFO's rate to our host tempo, we activate the bottom right sync button. Now our speed value can be changed in tempo clocked values. A setting of a quarter dotted locks in rhythmically with the rest of our track. A variety of LFO wave shapes can be selected from the wave drop-down, so we click on the word sign and select the triangle shape. Now, instead of rising up and down in a curved slope, our filter movement rises up and down in straight lines. The human knob introduces slight inaccuracies to the LFO speed, so we set this to around 15% for some subtle variation to our sweeps. The shape parameter alters the symmetry of our LFO's waveform. Move this around and hear how positive values make the wave reach its middle point more slowly. Whereas negative values make it rise more quickly. As with any parameter, we can either control or command click or double click to return it back to default. The plugin features a flexible modulation matrix, found at the bottom, with 4 assignable modulation slots available for routing. With Mod 1, our first modulation slot, selected, set LFO 1 as the source, and mix as the destination. Now push up the amount knob to maximum, and hear how some of our original dry signal is rhythmically mixed in, following the shape of LFO 1's movement. Now let's use RP-Distort CM's compressor section to even out our chord's dynamic range. Activate the module by clicking on the comp header, then set threshold to a minimum -40 dB, set a 20:1 ratio, 2 milliseconds attack, and 20 milliseconds release. We then audition our uncompressed signal with the plugin's top right bypass button. Our compressed signal needs releveling, so we bring up the volume knob slightly to match before and after levels. plugin's widener module uses pseudo-stereo techniques to enhance either a mono or stereo signal's width. Firstly, turn this module on, then apply a maximum 100% amount and width. Speed increases or decreases the modulation rate between the left and right channels, so sweep this around to hear its effect. We settle upon a value of around 0.1 Hz. Now set back our width value to around 60%, then pull the amount back to only 15 to 20%, so our sound isn't too out of phase. The FX path menu allows you to reorder each module in RP-Distort CM signal path. So to finish up, try applying some distortion via the Distort module. Then change through some of the 24 available routing options by clicking on the path in the center window to hear how different module orders can drastically affect the plugin's impact over our sound. Be sure to check out the plugin's flexible preset saving and MIDI learn features, amongst others. And they can all be found in the accompanying manual. To open the manual, simply click the question mark at the top of the plugin.
Download over 30 exclusive plugins. Get hundreds of pro-quality samples and power up your production skills with in-depth tutorials. We break it down for you step by step, and you'll see exactly how it's done in expert video guides and producer masterclass sessions with pro producers. Get all this and more with Computer Music Magazine every month on iPad and iPhone, PC and Mac, Android, and in print.